Here we are then testing the video autofocus with this TTArtisan AF 35mm f1.8 on the T4, as you can read. So we'll jump out of frame, see how the speed is, how the focus breathing is. Any good? Of course it's not the latest and greatest X Mount body, but as this is a super cheap lens, it might be more appropriate to use it on an older body. I mean, I still love my T4 and I use it for a lot. So yeah, anyway, let's crack this thing open in the studio so I can get on with the samples and the waffle and get it over to you as soon as possible. Yeah. Okie dokie, so we've got the usual user manual, warranty card, good old silica gel. We have a new lens hood, actually plastic, but that's a new design, so that'd be interesting. Business as usual in there. This definitely feels smaller. Of course, we're getting a 52.5mm full frame equivalent. Let's pop that hood on. Oh, bit of loose plastic there from the thread. Oh, the whole thing's come off. There we go, snap cap onto the 52mm filter thread. Closest focusing 40 centimeters. Let's see if we can line this back up again. That'll do. Looks all right. I don't know. He doesn't want to stay on. There we go. Right. Manual focus ring. It's all right. USB-C firmware port on the cap. Decent mount as always. No aperture ring, but we're getting a 1.8 to 16 aperture. 176 grams compared to 199 on the Mark 1. 9 diaphragm blades. 10 elements in 7 groups. There were 8 groups on the Mark 1. Of course, we looked at the 40 centimeters minimum focusing. The Mark 1 had 60 centimeters. Angle of view 45 degrees. That is basically it. So 13% smaller, 11% lighter. These are rough figures. 20 centimeter close focusing, 1 less lens group, and of course the new lens hood. So let's see how she fares. Build quality then is probably my favorite thing about this lens, after the price I suppose, and it handles well on my T4, although the autofocus, which in fairness is all internal, is not great. It hunts about a bit in video. It's not quite as snappy as I'd hoped in stills, and annoyingly I can't update the firmware to see if it's been fixed or improved on, as I'm a Mac user, so not ideal. The next step for these guys, I suppose, at this budget is adding an aperture ring. Then I guess they could work towards an AF/MF switch, but for now these are features that are usually included at a bit higher end of the market. So as it is, this is a simple, solid little lens that handles just fine for what it does have. Sharpness is good, wide open, edges softer. f5.6 is the sweet spot for sharpness across the whole frame. Color rendering is okay and contrast is lacking. Chromatic aberration, not bad at all, and distortion, barely noticeable. Field curvature is a negative though. Vignetting, as you're seeing, is heavy. Shooting wide open is quite a dark experience. I'm not completely convinced this lens is calibrated well, and as again, I can't update the firmware to see if it's been fixed. That's where we're standing on that one. Ghosting, flare, both present, but bokeh, okay, nothing to shout about, but you know, pretty clean. It's not particularly distracting, and if you're into the swirly effects at times, you can get a bit of that with this too. I did find I had a much better time shooting video and even editing video than stills from this lens, but the grim conditions at the moment aren't ideal for a low end lens. Overall image quality then, not a strong point. And yeah, we're dealing with pretty grim testing conditions, and this is the cheapest autofocus 35mm lens for X mount at the point of recording this. But as far as image quality and image quality alone goes, I think the Mark I might just edge it for me. What with the Fujifilm XC 35mm f2 only being £159 at the time of recording, TTArtisan are right to have set the price for this one at £129 because the XC would be the one to get. Now the Viltrox 35mm f1.7 is the very nearest competitor, and we looked at that before. It's the likely culprit for this Mark II coming out so soon. So I've got to say, I like that the TTArtisan Mark II is smaller and made of metal. It is 5 grams heavier, but there's that. The Viltrox does have slightly better image quality, closer focusing distance, which I like, as well as better focus breathing if we're being strict. Now, if you're really strapped for cash, this lens is cheaper than the Viltrox and you can happily buy it and live with the flaws. However, I've got to say that I don't think this nor the Viltrox are a hit that 99% of videos about these two lenses claim. On this channel, you get zero lies, no fluff, and a lot of lens manufacturers these days do not like that at all. But I'm not here to advertise, and these are just my thoughts. I'm an experienced professional photographer. I've been testing camera gear for a long time, and I just love all this stuff. It is good fun. So yeah, more importantly, it's over to you. Which do you prefer, the Viltrox or the TTArtisan? Let us know in the comments and I'll see you there.